Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us here today. We're pleased to be joined by three co-drivers of the number 48 Ally Cadillac DPI VR, which will be participating in the 59th Rolex 24 at Daytona next month. Left to right, we've got Simon Pagenaud, Jimmie Johnson, and Mike Rockenfeller. So three of the four drivers on the named lineup. Obviously, Kamui Kobayashi also will be a part of the program. We'll get some thoughts on him, I'm sure, from the folks that are on the panel. So without further ado, I'll get an opening comment from each of the drivers, and then we'll open for questions from the media. What we'll do is, media, if you have questions, let me know either in the group chat or use the raise hand function on the Zoom, and I'll get over to you to get your questions answered. So why don't we start off with an opener, obviously, for Jimmie Johnson. Jimmie, welcome back to Daytona and the preparation for the Rolex 24 at Daytona. Can you just talk about a little bit of maybe of how it feels to be back in a sports car after quite a little while not being here, but and maybe what you're looking forward to as we get into next month here.
Yeah, it's been a while. The car has evolved, I think, 2 generations since my last race in the Rolex 24. And I think we're around 8 to 10 seconds faster with this DPI configuration than what I did in the Grand Am car. So a very fun car to drive, lots of downforce, lots of speed. The Action Express guys have the car driving really nice too. We had a great day yesterday and super quick. So it's just a really neat opportunity for me to still have an association with Ally. Mr. Hendrick will be involved to a certain degree to drive, for Action, to have this opportunity to compete with Kamui, with Simon, and with Mike. It's just such a unique opportunity and one that I'm really proud to be a part of.
Thanks, Jimmie. Let's slide over to Simon for an opener from him. Obviously, Simon, you've had some experience, as we can see by the suit there, with Action Express racing previously. Most recently, obviously, raced in the last few years with Acura Team Penske and that DPI program, and now shifting over to the Cadillac DPI. Certainly early days, but are there big differences between the Acura DPI car and the Cadillac, and what are you looking forward to being part of this program?
I mean, it's a great opportunity to be part of this program. Obviously, it's an interesting lineup with the meetup of NASCAR champion legend, I would say, with Jimmie, Mike, DTM champion, Le Mans champion, Kamui Kobayashi, F1 Le Mans champion as well, and Daytona champion. So with my experience in sports cars and IndyCar, it's the world of racing altogether, which is very exciting. We are driving for a great team with Action Express, who's won many times at Daytona, and driving Cadillac is very interesting for me. It's a big add up to my experience in sports cars. As you know, I've been racing sports cars for so many years. It's great to be able to continue as I really enjoy it, and it's also great preparation before the IndyCar season starts. So, Daytona being such a classic, I'm very excited. Want to thank Team Penske for giving me the opportunity also to race here in Daytona. They know I love sports car racing, and I'm glad I can be here.
Thank you, Simon, and let's slide over to Mike Rockenfeller for an opener. He's definitely a driver, even though right now he's not dressed like it. But he's also a Rolex 24 at Daytona winner with this very team back in 2009. So maybe let's just start there, Mike. How excited are you to be reunited with Action Express Racing? A team where you like I said, you've won the Rolex 24 before, and especially with this lineup of drivers that you're a part of.
Well, I think the opportunity came up, and I always had the goal to come back to the top class to fight for overall after being in the GT category for quite some years in America, let's say, for the long races. And when the call came, I couldn't believe it, to be honest, to be together with such a great lineup. It's just an honor to be with those guys on the car and to share that experience we will have in January. Obviously, we all know how difficult it is to to win that race. So yeah, I'm super excited. I'm ready. You know, I'm using that opportunity here at the test to get some laps, to get up to speed again in these kind of cars. They are pretty close to what I'm used to in DTM, I would say, from terms of lap time and downforce. So that's good, and it's good to sort out everything, you know, the basics, the seat and so on, the suit, as you can see. You know, we are working on that. No, but I couldn't find the one from Action back in the day. It's too long ago. No, but seriously, yeah, it's great fun. It's really great fun, and we have good weather, so we can drive, we can test, and it's going to be fun. And Kamui is not here yet, but obviously he's a great addition. So just happy overall, to be honest, to be back and fight for that watch.
Thanks, Mike. We'll go ahead and we'll open up for questions from the media. Again, if you have a question, use the raise hand function or let me know in the group chat. I'll get over to you. We'll start with Bob Pockris. Bob, go ahead.
You have a couple for Jimmie. First off, why are you doing this in the sense of you've got all the IndyCar stuff you're working on, you've done this race before. Why this race and why now?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. First and foremost, this has been on my wish list or hit list for a long time to come back and to be a part of the Rolex 24. I was shocked to read it in a press release, but this will be my 8th attempt. I know I've been here before, but it's hard to believe it's been 7 other times. And I finished second in 2 of those attempts. So this race has a special place in my heart, and I love to be a part of it. And knowing my year will slow down, maybe not my December and then start of 2021, it works out well for me to do it. And then to have such a high caliber opportunity makes it a no-brainer. But one other piece is I'm trying to understand how to use downforce in a race car and to get up to speed in the Indy car and how little testing there is in Indy car. This is a great way for me to get reps in a high downforce car. The power isn't the same, but the downforce is pretty significant. And the trends and kind of habits that I need to break and then recreate, you know, I can use this experience to start that process.
And also with NASCAR adding the Daytona road course for a Cup points race, has anybody asked you to run the Busch Clash since you're eligible? Both Hendrick and Ganassi have drivers who aren't eligible, and you are.
No, I haven't had a stock car phone call yet. Plenty of other ones, but not a stock car one.
Okay, so would you entertain one, or is that not on the table?
I don't think so right now. I feel like, you know, just in pure transparency, that I need to not drive a stock car for a while to really reprogram my senses in my brain to drive downforce. I mean, it's just a totally different way to get through the center of the corner. I'm even spending time right now driving an F3 car at the track with, you know, tons of teenagers. And, you know, I'm the old guy showing up with gray in his beard around a bunch of teenagers. But it's really a great tool for me to learn how to use downforce and how quickly things come at you in a car with downforce. So right now, I really need to stay focused on developing the right habits for an Indy car. And, you know, the season's going to be here before I know it. And of course, there's going to be a big spotlight on me and how I perform in the car. And with the testing being so little, that I've got a lot of learning to do so that I can be on pace.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Jimmie. Let's go to Greg Engel. Go ahead, Greg.
Hey guys, with apologies to the other 2 drivers, my questions are for Jimmie. The Ally sponsorship that you're bringing to the 24, was this part of the original deal when you signed with them for the Indy stuff, or was this an add-on? Because it seems like it'd be tough in this sponsorship climate to have Ally seemingly willing you follow you anywhere, which is a very good thing.
Yeah, the environment's tough for sure. This was kind of a surprise to me towards in middle of November that the opportunity was there, and I think Mr. Hendricks always had an interest in coming back to Daytona. And with the relationship I have with Ally, there's just a lot of synergies around it. It made sense, and have such a marquee lineup of drivers. The opportunity really just kind of came together. So I had very little to do with it. It was more on the Hendricks side, but thankful to be considered and be a part of it.
And because Bob's a much better reporter than I'll ever be, he already asked you about speed weeks. So let me just ask the one final time hat you got on. Does that represent maybe one final time here at the Rolex, or would you be open to doing this again, or is it just too soon to say?
Just like the hat. I wore it during the Cup season. So it's my Cup hat. I just like it.
Well, thank you. Thanks, guys.
Right, not one final time for all the stuff I'm getting ready to do.
One more final time.
One more. Many more final times.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Happy holidays to you and all your families.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Let's go to Jordan Bianchi. Go ahead, Jordan.
This question's for anyone who'd like to answer it. Have you guys had discussions about who's going to kind of handle the bulk of the driving duties, or your rotations, or who might drive in the rain or overnight or anything like that, or is that just too far down the road?
Hey, Mike, why don't you field that one?
Not yet. I think
We need to get him a driving suit first.
We are looking for a driver's suit now. Seriously, I think we're just doing the seats, getting laps in. I think it's too early, to be honest. I think we are 4 drivers. We are all willing to, to bring in our effort and our skills, and whenever it's needed. I think a 24-hour race, you don't win with ego or when you be in the car or when not or whatever. I think everybody needs to feel comfortable and be in the car when you feel the best for the situation. So I think it's too early to talk about that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jordan. Let's go to Joe Jennings. Go ahead, Joe.
I have a question for Jimmie and for Simon. For Jimmie, how have these cars changed since the last time you drove for Bob Stallings? And for Simon, the difference between this and the Acura?
Yeah, the cars are a lot different. They look longer in wheelbase and then much narrower and I think much more efficient car for the downforce that it creates. The cockpit itself is probably half the size to what I experienced in the Bob Stallings car. So it's much different, and then all of that works out to probably 8 or 10 seconds a lap time. So the cars are much quicker now than when I was in them years back.
As for the difference between the two cars, it's kind of a professional question I can't answer. But what I can say is that the Daytona chassis is it's a bit more roomy, so it's quite a bit more comfortable in terms of sitting position in the Cadillac, as you would expect out of a Cadillac. And also, obviously, the sound. The engine is quite a bit. Is a very different architecture. We're talking about a 8-cylinder engine on the Cadillac, so it's also not a turbocharged engine compared to the Acura. So the behavior of the engine is very different. Very responsive on the Cadillac without the turbos. But the BOP makes it so the cars are very, very similar in performance. And that's the whole idea of this championship. So far I'm having a great time, just loving, being teammates with these guys and loving getting to grip with the Cadillac. So just enjoying my time.
Thank you very much.
You're on mute there.
Yeah. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Simon. Let's go to Thibaut. Go ahead, Thibaut.
Hello, everybody. Question for Mike. Mike, the future of the DTM is pretty uncertain, but we know how much you love endurance racing. What would you like to do in the next few years with everything which happened in endurance?
Well, I never made a secret out of it that I really feel home in endurance racing, and this for me especially means in America. I think I always love to come here. My goal would be to be a full-time driver in America again one day for sure. And time is running. I'm not the youngest. I'm 37, so I need to hurry up a bit.
Easy.
Sorry. Well, but we talked about it. Time goes by so quick, and obviously the news. When you also read what Audi announced, obviously stopping DTM was tough. But every crisis or every negative, there's also something positive maybe, or another door is opening. And as you saw now, I'm now in Daytona in a top car, to be able to win the race, hopefully, and or to have the chance to fight for it at least. And then you never know what might happen after. But definitely, I see myself in endurance racing and in the top class, and that's why I'm super happy to be here. And let's see what happens. But that's for sure my hopefully my future. I think DTM was nice for me. I have done it for 14 years, and I think it's time for a new chapter again.
Thank you.
Thibaut, thanks, Mike. Let's go to Holly Kane.
Thanks. Hi, gentlemen. My question for you is, as Simon was mentioning all of the great races and accomplishments that you all have, I was curious, how well do you know each other prior to this? And what has it been like kind of getting to know one another?
Want to start?
Well, I'm a really good friend with Jimmie's little brother, Jesse. So we actually got to know each other at Jesse's wedding. And then this came about. So I've always looked up to Jimmie. You know, when I came to the US, obviously, he became the legend that he is. And for me, you know, I didn't know much about oval racing, and Jimmie, we actually talked about this. He, you know, throughout the years made some special moves on oval, and I inspired myself from his performance. And you know, he's the king. So you look at what the king does, and you try to emulate that for yourself. And it's been very, very enjoyable to get to know him as a human being as well. We have very, very similar personalities, so I think it's gonna be a really great chemistry on the team. And with Rocky, we actually have friends in common, so we spend time eating food together very often. So we know each other really well, and we have great time. So I really think we're going to have a fantastic time, and we have very similar desire, and I think we have very similar times in our career on the team. So it seems to be, you know, everybody seems to be very much on the same page.
Yeah, just to add, I haven't had a chance to meet Kamui, and then this is my first chance to meet Rocky and spend time with him. Although I sent him an email after his horrific crash back in the day in the Audi at Le Mans. But we're off to a great start. I think there's a lot of chemistry amongst us three, and I feel like when Kamui comes in the fold, we're going to be off to a great start.
Mike, your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I have to say, obviously, Jimmie, I didn't know him in person. Like he said, he was one of the few drivers back in 2011 to write me an email or to take the time to write me an email in his busy schedule when I had this accident, even without knowing me. And that meant a lot back in the day, I have to say. I never expected that we race together on a car, so that's great. And at the end of the day, I think the cool thing about our lineup is definitely there's no ego, I think, you know, because everybody wants to do his best, and we are not looking, let's say, sometimes in some environments you have a lineup where somebody wants to have the job of the other or whatsoever. I think here it's really just, you know, everybody needs to feel good, and it's great. And I mean, like Simon said, we know each other from having nice dinner together many times, so all good. I think it's going to be good. And Kamui, I talked to him in Fuji when we did the, you know, DTM and Super GT final last year. We had a lot of battles in the race, him and me. I think we passed each other like 8 or 9 times. It was crazy, actually. And he's a super good driver, so I'm sure it's going to be fun.
Thank you.
Thanks, Holly. Thanks, guys. Let's go to JJ O'Malley for one for Jimmie.
Jimmie, welcome back to the Rolex 24. When this was announced, the Chase Elliott's name also was a part of the equation. Is there any chance we'll be seeing him in the Rolex 24 that you know of?
Yeah, I think we'll see him out there.
Well, no further information.
Yeah, nothing I can say right now. But yeah, I think we'll see him out there.
Great. Thank you very much.
You got it.
Thanks, JJ. Thanks, Jimmie. Tony DeZino, go for Simon. Tony, if you're talking, you're on mute. All right, Tony, we'll come back to you. John DeGeese, go ahead.
Yeah, for Jimmie, is this literally just a one-off in terms of IMSA participation, or could we see you maybe wanting to do some more of the Endurance Cup races later in the year, like Sebring or Petit Le Mans?
Yeah, I would really like to. Right now, it's just a one-race program. I'm not even sure how the dates interact with the IndyCar schedule to know it's possible. But I recall seeing Simon in a IMSA car quite a bit through the course of the year last year. So I'm definitely open to it, but right now it's just a one race program.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, John. Let's go to Claire B. Lang. Go ahead, Claire.
Thank you. Jimmie, quick question. I know that horsepower, or I heard that horsepower was a reason why that NASCAR, currently was tough for you, that you like the high horsepower and that you're finding that in IndyCar and maybe in this racing too. But how much of the decision is based on not getting your head back in NASCAR right now on the horsepower side of it, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, the cars have changed a lot in NASCAR, and I've lived through many generations of cars and engine combinations that were thrown our way. And I certainly statistically did better with higher horsepower, even more downforce in the cars when you think back to the Monte Carlo era. But the bulk of my decision was really based on feeling very fulfilled in NASCAR and ready for a new challenge. And sure, the car experience has changed some in NASCAR, but that's not why I decided to make 2020 my last year in NASCAR. It's really to have opportunities like this and to really satisfy something inside of me that I've always had, and I've always wanted to race in all the marquee events. Always wanted to travel the world and race. I've always wanted to drive, really technical cars and powerful cars and cars with a lot of downforce, and just have that diversity from a driving experience. So my decision is really based on those two, on that solely, is that it's about something I want to do with the end of my career in driving. And fortunately, I've built up this notoriety and name recognition that I can create these opportunities. And I feel like I would regret not taking advantage of this opportunity if I just stayed in the Cup car. So that desire in my own head was really the driving force behind it all, instead of looking at it statistically on paper and saying, well, it was because of power or because of accomplishments or not accomplishing what I wanted to in these last couple of years in NASCAR. It's really been about the experience side and moments like this.
And real quickly, how natural does the high horsepower feel to you?
This car is, the weight plays a big role in it. So this car accelerates much harder than the Cup car does. It also has traction control on it, so you can get the power to the ground. So it is impressive, but the Indy car is a whole different ballgame of power to weight. That thing, it's like wrestling a monster. It is quite a vehicle. This one is very impressive, but the Indy car is something else.
We all wish you a lot of luck. Thanks a lot, Jimmie. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. Let's go to Jenna.
Hey there. I'm still kind of mind blown that Jimmie Johnson is old enough to not only be married, but be friends with Simon. But
Simon's wife and Jesse have been super close. We kind of all grew up in the same little neighborhood in El Cajon. So it's crazy to see how our worlds collided.
Yeah, it's wild. I remember him as a little kid at the racetrack.
Yeah.
Simon and Mike, you guys have raced this event more recently than Jimmie, and you know what a good winning lineup it looks like. Do you guys feel like this is a winning car?
Yeah, I think it is. I really do. Actually, Express is one here. They have a winning combination when it comes to car setup. I think the Cadillac is a proven winning machine around this track. So I think it's definitely a big advantage. Mike and Cam, we have both won the biggest 24-hour races in the world. So yeah, I think we stand a really, really good chance. Jimmie's getting used to the car really well. So I feel the same way. So I think all of us together, we should be on pace, and I don't see any reason why we won't be competitive. But it's a long race. A lot can happen. It can rain. It can snow. If it snows, I'll take the wheel, guys. We'll see what happens. But in the end, yeah, I think we'll be competitive.
Yeah, not so much to add. I think definitely we all love racing and driving cars, but we love even more winning, and that's why we are here. And I'm sure there's an opportunity. We all know how this race is. You need to be there at the end with a proper car and then have the pace to outpace the others. And I think we have it, but obviously it's a long way. I would love to have this, another Rolex. Not for me, but my little daughter, which is, arriving soon, obviously needs a new watch when she's grown up. So that's why.
And he says soon, it could be literally any day.
Yeah, that's true.
And then Simon, I saw your social media posts. Did you not pack correctly for the weather? Your jacket was a little formal for the garage.
Don't you remember where I come from? Yeah, it's I don't get to go back to Paris, so I enjoy my French clothes this winter here in Daytona. So it's really cold, and that was the nicest, fashionist jacket I had, so I took it, and everybody knows where I come from with it.
Did you guys make fun of him?
I'm not sure we did. No. Well, I don't think we make fun of class, Jenna.
Behind his back, maybe.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jenna. Let's go to Nate Ryan. Go ahead, Nate.
Yeah, I have one question for Simon, one question for Jimmie. Kind of following up, Simon, on what Jenna just asked about, do you believe you guys can win? And what Holly asked about, how well do you guys know each other? You've got a lot of experience in sports cars, and there seem to be many examples of all-star cars being able to win prestigious races like this, just throwing 3 or 4 drivers together and they come out on top. Why does that happen? And why do you guys have the confidence belief that despite not having all raced together in the same car before, you guys can just make this happen and do it?
I think there's a strong desire of winning. That's the first one. We've all won in our different disciplines in the past, and we all have a desire to win the Rolex 24. So, that the motivation is there. We're obviously here early December, testing with our team, getting the seats sorted, getting everything sorted. So you can see that we're doing everything by the book, and we're not going to leave any stone unturned. That's really our policies, I think, as champions. So we're going to be here. We're going to try hard. That doesn't mean we're going to win, but that means we're going to give everything that we have within our power to try. And I really strongly believe we'll be competitive. But again, it's a 24-hour race, and you can't stop but saying that anything can happen. So it's going to be what it's going to be.
And then for Jimmie, you said you wanted to have this one on your resume. What about in those 7 previous starts of the Rolex 24? What was the allure, the appeal? Why does it mean so much to have a win in this race for you?
Sure. I want to expand on the question you had for Simon. Before I answer that one, I'll probably forget it, so I need you to re-ask it. But
no problem. I appreciate you answering both.
So from being the first driver in the mix is Mr. Hendrick and Ally and Jim France put this thing together, and to watch how intentional the team has been to find the right 4 guys to put together. Clearly, with their success in the available drivers, you can look down a sheet of paper and pick fast guys and think, yep, this guy's fast, and come up with a list and pick your 4. But I watched them take their time and be very methodical about how we would all fit together. And then, of course, you have to meet all these other criteria to be on the short list. But long story short, they were very intentional about us 4 together. And I think that's another the question that you asked as to why we feel the possibility is here, and that we do truly have an opportunity to compete for the win.
Right. And then the Rolex 24, like you said, it's a void. You'd like to have this one on your resume. You've made 7 starts before. What about this race? Obviously, it's prestigious, but is there something specific about it that really appeals to you winning it?
Yeah, when I think back, I don't know when my early years and connecting with this event come from, but it's far enough back that I can't remember. So I was really young, and I just was fascinated with an endurance race. The fact that it was here, and I knew them all, but that we had one here in the U.S., and cars and teams and drivers would come in far and wide to participate, and it was just a feeling of what this race represented. And as a young kid, I wanted to do that. I thought it was really neat. And I did grow up around endurance racing with the Desert Off-Road Series. And so I feel like that maybe also played into the mindset and understanding of how tough endurance races are and how special it is to get a group together and achieve success in a big race. So it goes way back. It's been on my radar since my early years.
So if you win it and you have this and Daytona and a Brickyard, does that make you maybe a little bit more inclined to maybe look at Indy and trying to win the 500 and have all of those?
You know, I think my journey for the 500 will really take place as I'm around Indy cars more, and it's easy to have a perspective of things when you're watching on television, and then the further you get into a sport, the deeper the understanding is. So I'll see as the year develops, and I hope to be able to test on an oval and experience it firsthand. I feel by myself out there, that I'm plenty comfortable and safe with doing that. But 250 4 wide, in the closing laps, the 500, I don't know if I can help myself and not race like a 20-year-old for the win. And I just, I've always felt that if I'm thinking about my safety in a car, I don't need to be in it. And I've just always had that golden rule in my head. And we've just talked about this for so many years that it's in my head or what, but where I sit now, it's really not an option. And with Kanan signed up to run the oval races for us, I'm not really sure if there's even an opportunity there if I do change my mind. But we'll see as 2021 develops, and hopefully I can get at least a day on an oval and see how it goes.
Got it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Nate. We just got a couple of more here. Let's go to Shay Adam for one for Jimmie. Go ahead, Shay.
Hey guys, we've got a 48 in IMSA Racing with Paul Miller Racing, and they actually won the Rolex last year. But Jimmie, that's obviously the number that's been associated with you for a very long time. So how important was it to make sure that you got that number to come back and do the Rolex?
I wasn't expecting it. When I started talking with the team, I was potentially going to be in a 31 car. And in the 48 car, and that opportunity kind of developed, I guess, more in November. And I was talking with the team probably in August about the Rolex for 2021. So things have definitely changed since our conversations first started. And when I found out that we had the 48 car number, of course I smiled and was excited to have the car number. But as I go into my sports car adventures, I know car number is really out of my control. In IndyCar, I figured I could pull that one off, and then we got lucky here, but I'm not sure I can keep it everywhere I go.
Thanks, Shay. I did get Tony DeZino's message, or he messaged it to me. So for Simon, what can you tell Jimmie about how different the race will be now compared to the last time he was here in 2011?
Oh, wow, it's an interesting question. The only advice I could give is that the cars are very reliable these days. But we're going to make sure we stay on the lead lap. We're going to try to make sure we can stay on the lead lap until the last hour, and then in the last hour we can unleash the line. I think that's the key. That's the key of the 24 hours of Daytona. Just make sure you don't hit anything. Make sure the car is in one piece and in good health for the last hour in attack. That's really what it is. I don't know if it was like that in 2011. I actually wasn't here, so at the end of the day, it's an endurance race. You're going to be there at the end.
All right, we got two more here. We'll go to Thibaut for one. Go ahead, Thibaut.
Yeah, a question to the three of you. You were in three very different categories in 2020. What was your feedback after the first day? Was it really different or not at all?
You mean about the car, right? The
Yes.
difference in the car.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I expected to get a similar feeling like back in the LMP1 day when I drove for Audi. Of course, after being now for several years in, let's say, a GT car here or DTM mainly in Europe, it takes you a few laps because you sit completely different, so it's really a different feeling. Everything is you get used to the steering, to the force, how it is. So it takes a couple of laps, but I have to say it fulfilled my expectations, and it's really a nice car to drive. Obviously, Daytona is very unique as a track with the banking and the slow speed infield. So I think the full potential of the car you can really feel on other tracks than Daytona in the cornering. Here, the bus stop is let's say the fastest place where you can push the car to its limits. Yeah, but it's great fun. Honestly, I really love it, and it just takes a bit of time. And even in the race, I think you develop because the track is changing. over the course of the race, and the car hopefully at the end is in the right shape and in the right balance. But yeah, clearly it's a lot of fun, and we talk about winning the race and so on and so on. Obviously, there are some other guys out there as well that have won this race many times and champions in other categories. So it's a really, really tough event. And I think at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything what we have done before. Once we come here, it's the same for all of us.
Jimmie or Simon, anything to add on your initial feedback of being in the car?
I was really impressed. Again, I haven't been in one in a long time, but comparing it to the IndyCar, it's a little less power, but braking and corner speed itself is close. And that was surprising to me. I don't believe the Grand Am car I drove back in 2011 was really even close to the potential that this car has on brakes and carrying speed into a corner.
Yeah, for me, it's just a pleasure to go back and forth between the IndyCar and the sports cars, and being able to drive a new prototype with the Cadillac is awesome. It's a chance to gather more experience for myself, which, as you know, I'm very technical and something I really enjoy. So the car felt fantastic yesterday. Obviously, this is cold conditions. We'll see how it is in January, but it's really awesome to be able to go from the IndyCar, see how it feels, and then go to the sports car. Obviously, the downforce is different, the tires are different, the weight is different, but quite frankly, it's still the same mechanism, same technique of driving. It's just fun to, in IndyCar you go for one lap pace, and here you go really for the endurance, consistency, and it's fun.
Thank you, Simon. We'll close it out with Stefan, who has questions for all three. Go ahead, Stefan.
Hi, I'm Stefan from L'Equipe newspaper in Paris. Because of the new factory teams due to enter IMSA and WEC, how much could be important that race in Daytona to be in mind of team managers for driving seat in the future in big categories and big teams?
Go ahead.
I think any race is important, and Daytona is obviously one race. The whole world in motorsport, in endurance racing, everybody's watching it, and everybody will, keep their eyes on what everybody is doing. And if they're looking for drivers or teams or whatever in the future over here, for sure it makes a difference how you perform, and we all know that. And like I said before, personally, as I, one of my goals is to come back here full time. Obviously, I would love to, show my potential and do my part in the team, and then see what happens after. But I mean, it's still a bit of time until the, LMDH thing is happening in racing. Obviously, testing starts very soon. And like I said, with the news about Audi, I'm very happy and confident in a way that there will be something for me, as I'm connected to them, as you know. But right now, I'm just focusing on this race and trying to do the best and have a good performance, have a good race. So many things can happen, like we all said, and it would be awesome to sit here, right here, after the race.
Jimmie or Simon?
Yeah, I think, obviously, when you look at the horizon in sports car racing, you got the 24 hours of Le Mans, you got 24 hours of Daytona. Those are with the Sebring 12 hours, those are the classic, and two of them are in the US. So I think when you look at the future of sports car racing, Daytona should be part of it and should really be, one of the main events. So I look forward to see the future of sports car racing. The new regulations, very exciting. I'm always very positive on everything. And, I'm excited to see what the car cars become, and obviously all the manufacturers that are talking to get into it. So, it's all about evolution. Sports car racing and endurance and Le Mans in particular have always been about the evolution of cars, and it helps obviously safety on the roads. The cars evolve. We've got ABS on the GTD cars, and we have ABS on the road. It's where we develop things, for example. But it's one example out of a million. So I look forward to a very great future.
Yeah, and for me, I can say I've had a bit of a journey here trying to let it be known that sports cars, the racing in these events is of an interest to me. You go back to the previous 7 Rolex 24s I've competed in. I've done a 6-hour at Watkins Glen, and then the summer 6-hour here a few times in July, back when they were trying to cook us. But, I've always felt like sports car racing was something I wanted to do after my Cup career. And I've been able to find a couple years in an IndyCar. And at the same time, I feel like I need to let it be known that sports car racing is definitely an interest for me. And being in this race is crucial for that, to set up for things down the road. And obviously a good run and good performance should help open doors, or at least keep me in people's minds the collaboration comes together in the years to come.
Thanks, Jimmie. We did get one last one here from John DeGeese real quick from Mike. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, just to clarify, Mike, are you contracted with Audi for next year, or is that still, or did that end already?
Oh no, I am.
Okay, so is there a possibility of you being in some of their GT3 programs next year, or anything like that?
Well, we didn't really talk about it yet. I mean, the DTM season was pretty long, until November basically. And now I'm here. I'm focusing really on Daytona. And as there is a new structure in Audi as well, and things are changing, I think right now it's a bit too early to really go into detail there. But we will definitely sit together after Daytona. But yeah, I'm sure I will do one or the other GT3 event, probably Nürburgring 24 hour also. So let's see. There are a lot of big races, with the GT3 cars. But as I said before, I see myself more in a prototype.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks.
Thanks, John. And gentlemen, we really do appreciate your generosity with your time this morning. Thank you very much. Best of luck as you prepare for the Rolex 24. And thank you to all of our friends in the media from all over the world for joining us here today. So with that, we'll close it down. Thanks, everybody. And we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody. Thanks, everybody.